Hello, and welcome to the Badger Politic. I'm Scott Stearns.
Happy New Year, Scotty. This is Rick, Uncle Rick. I came in.
I know. I didn't think I would run into you after our last episode. We don't see each other that often.
Oh, well, I don't mean to overstay my welcome here in Wisconsin. I know it's now back to trying to be a blue state.
Yeah, well,
I told you.
You're still on vacation or what?
Well, my wife Patty, she had to go back down. There was some permitting issues on the house in the Villages down in Orlando. Outside of
You had to check on some stuff.
We don't live in Orlando. That's a little dangerous. We live in the Villages, And, there was something wrong with permits for the golf cart lanes outside the house. We're trying to get it.
Somebody driving cars on them or what?
Well, some people have been golfing a little after twilight, and we got some concerns about what kind of element that might bring in, So she went down. She said, Rick, take some time. The weather's not that bad up here. Stay a little later than the holidays. I need a little time. She said something about peace and quiet. She needs. But I know her. She doesn't mind me. She just really wants to keep an eye on things down there.
Gotcha.
So I'll be going down after a while. Plus, I was up here. I was hoping to get Packer playoff tickets, but but they couldn't make it.
It didn't really work out for you.
Well,
but the Bucks are doing great. If you want to stick around and hit the
I like college basketball, Scotty. I don't understand pro basketball. It's all about the money and the the clever shooting and all that.
There's no money in football, I suppose.
Scotty. I mean, what are you concerned about with that? Honestly, what I'm concerned about is the wall.
Okay, let's talk about that.
I mean, I think there ought to be some money for that. There's enough money to pay pro basketball players or Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. There should be enough money to pay for this wall.
Well, okay, so the wall. So we do have a shutdown. So I guess we could start with that because we are currently in a federal government shutdown. And we're at a 13-day impasse at this point where there's federal workers that are on the job. They're not getting paid. They've got bills to pay. They have mortgages and car payments.
Well, government employees.
Why would you want to hold the working people of this country hostage over the wall? Why does that have to be resolved now? Why can't that be
security, Scotty?
It's
about protecting our country.
It's debatable whether or not this is the right move for security, but why does that have to hold the federal government hostage? Why can't that be its own debate, independent of
I just think that after all those years of Obama's deficits, it's about time somebody used my tax dollars as a taxpayer to protect our country.
I'm pretty sure Obama spent much more than $5 billion on border security.
Yeah, but where's the wall then, Scotty?
We have plenty of barriers.
He promised us a wall. If you read,
we have barriers. We have barriers all over the place.
Obama even himself voted for a wall, but then he wanted to get the liberal left to support him. Like, I used to like Obama. He was he gave a good speech one time. I thought he was pretty smart.
Okay.
He was better than that crooked Hillary. But then, he wanted to get the liberal left behind him. We could never quite tell with him.
Okay. So where do you think this is going? We got this. We have a disagreement about the wall.
Plus, I think his wife's too liberal. That's probably the other thing. She's actually the real. I mean, she might be actually a Muslim.
She's okay.
All
right. Well, speaking of women, we've got Nancy Pelosi, who is now in as Speaker of the House for the second time in her career.
She got the name of my favorite woman in politics, Nancy Reagan. Nancy Pelosi is just a sign of that big government, San Francisco politics. That's why we can't get the wall. We can't afford it because we have to pay for all the programs that help benefit San Francisco and Brooklyn.
Well,
none of the programs that benefit Wisconsin.
But I'm pretty sure the Republicans have controlled Congress and now the presidency for the last 2 years. Where was all this concern about spending the last couple of years, Uncle Rick? Your side had plenty of opportunity to balance the budget. Where's that?
You had some rhinos in there that were trying to undermine Trump. They're jealous they didn't
get spending.
They're jealous they didn't get their way, and
sure.
so like John McCain, he didn't support the president.
A lot of them wanted to probably spend $5 million or more
on
a wall.
Arizona didn't support the president.
Yeah.
He flaked out on the president.
They want to spend all this money on the wall.
Ultimately, the Democrat Party was for it. Obama was for it. I even think crooked Hillary voted for the wall one time. And it's about time they just get it built. It's been going on.
I thought Mexico was supposed to pay for it.
That was all over
the rallies.
Speaking of Mexican people, what about that Sanchez Ocario woman?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Alexander Sanchez Ocario, I think she's an actual, she said she's a socialist, but I don't think she knows anything. I think she's just some college girl who got elected to Congress from Brooklyn and
from the Bronx, but yeah.
Alexandria
Ocasio-Cortez, I think that's the name you're trying to piece together.
What she's dangerous is that the socialists, like the Bernie Sanders and stuff, they can control her.
Okay.
Kind of like they got into Obama and controlled him, too.
I don't know. It seems to me that Republicans are a little obsessed with her for some reason. I don't know.
Now we see her dancing and, trying to be all hot college girl. But
seems like Republicans are a little obsessed with her.
I don't know. She can't be in government, spending our taxpayer money because she doesn't know anything. She's just a college girl, and she says she's a socialist. She's being controlled by, that's the problem is she's being controlled by Bernie.
Oh, okay.
On the people on the far left. And that's scary to me, Scotty. I worry about our country. I worry about our country for your kids, my kids, my boy Clint. He's having some kids now too. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're 9 and 8, but they're the babies to me. And
bottom line is we have a lot of new blood. We've got a brand new Congress that went live today.
Yeah,
and we got a lot of new faces. And there was always been this argument about term limits over the years. And I think the best term limits are elections, and I think we saw a number of new people get elected this last time.
Before I go, can we talk about your new governor, Tony?
Sure.
Tony governor-elect.
He'll be...
so the governor is still my governor, Scott Walker. That's when I'll leave the state.
Is that when your plane leaves? Is before?
January 8th, Scotty. You know it. Or 7th or whatever.
Well, Monday, January 7th.
I mean, of course I'll be back when the weather gets better, but, we'll see you maybe in the summertime, Scotty. All right.
Well, it's good to see you. Take care.
Yeah.
And, keep in touch.
Say hi to the family. Oh, your buddy Paul, I see he's here.
He's waiting.
That lib boy, he's such a liberal. Like, wow, he's practically a socialist. But whatever, you can buy him a beer for me anyways. All
right, sounds good.
All right, bye.
All right, take care. Happy New Year.
Bye.
All right, listeners. So, apologize for that delay in our regular agenda here, but Uncle Rick showed up a little early, and he wanted to be a part of the podcast before we dove right into what we had pre-planned. So, that having been said,
sorry about that.
And welcome, Paul.
Hey, Paul Sickle.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How was your holiday?
Pretty good. I mean, I just saw Rick on his way out.
Yeah, he's. I didn't know he was still up here. I thought he was heading back south for the after the holidays, but apparently not.
Man,
I ran into him while I was setting up, and he was a little insistent that he wanted to kind of state his case about a lot of the goings on.
He's a little salty about Pelosi. We heard about that over the
big day. Nancy Pelosi, for the second time in her career, took over as Speaker of the House.
That's pretty cool.
Of the 116th Congress. So that's yeah. I mean, and right away they got right to work. They passed bills to fund the government, which is currently shut down. Obviously, we have people that are furloughed. We have people that are working without pay. We had Day 13 pass, and at this point, I mean, the more this thing goes on, the more concerned, obviously, people are that either are working for the federal government or have friends or family that are employed by the federal government. Because, I mean, these people have to make their mortgage payments. They got to pay their car payments. They've got bills to pay. They got kids to send to school. So what do you think is the end game with this whole thing? Because obviously it's at an impasse. Trump's demanding the wall. Nancy Pelosi and the House passed the bill tonight, which was the same bill that the Senate passed in the last Congress.
Right.
And now Mitch McConnell is saying that they are not interested in passing the same bill they passed when there was a Republican Congress. So the most likely scenario that I see playing out is that at some point the Senate's going to buckle. Because they're in between.
This is where, I think if federal workers actually had full collective bargaining rights, there would be a little bit of a hammer here from the workers.
A little more leverage?
Yeah, the workers would be able to demand. They don't actually have federal employees have unions, but they don't have. Right. They're basically like Act 10 unions in Wisconsin. They have almost no bargaining rights.
So that having been said, I mean, where does this go?
I guess I'm interested in that because there was a comment on the news that I heard just on the radio was that a federal union for the border security people are encouraging Trump to hold out. I mean, we have a lot of people working; they're just not working for pay.
Exactly. And it's because as the time goes on, it becomes more and more of an issue. I mean, for families where both parents are working,
and the problem is,
it's maybe they can make do for a few months or dip into savings, and then usually how these things end, when they do end, the federal workers typically get back pay.
The point that I'm trying to get after is this is a systemic problem.
It's a recent phenomenon, though. Like, this didn't used to be the case, and it really started back in the 90s when
it has gotten more and more frequent ever since then.
But it never results in anything. I mean, that's why I don't understand why it keeps getting used as
a tool. It's brinksmanship. And it's like let's see how far we can go before it breaks.
But it never results in anything.
Right.
Nobody ever wins these things. I mean, Ted Cruz shut down the government a few years ago because he objected to Obamacare funding.
Well, and that's my fear, is that the Democrats aren't going to win.
I don't think that. I don't see that.
How did the Democrats win politically off this? I mean, I guess you could say,
I think they're already winning because of the fact that appropriations start in the House.
Right.
They can keep passing bills.
Right.
And then they stop in the Senate. There are a number of senators, more so than this last cycle. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of senators on the Republican side that are up in 2 years, less than 2 years, and
I hope you're right.
Not all of them are from deep red states.
No, there's a few from. There's enough that the Dems could get the majority back.
Cory Gardner already came out and already said that he thinks that the Senate should pass the bill they previously passed, which the House passed again today.
Right. 538 says that the map still favors Republicans, but I mean, when you look at it, it's not.
But not
by much.
Not
this. Nothing like this last cycle.
No, not at all. So what I'm looking for is to see which senators, your Susan Collins and your
well, that's why that's up.
Yeah,
Collins, Gardner. Mm-hmm. So those are
two right off the bat.
Two pretty much blue states.
Yep. So
bluer than Wisconsin anyway.
So I think if McConnell continues to get pressure. Mm-hmm. That's where I think you're going to see maybe some compromise between the Senate and the House. They're going to jerry-rig some kind of bill, and then Trump will sign it by just changing the meaning of words. By just saying, well, yeah, I got a wall because they're already rebuilding the fence that was built. And he'll justify it by saying, yeah, we're doing construction.
But then what happens when, the Ann Coulters come out and say... Although I heard he unfollowed Ann Coulter. That was interesting.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
But... there appears to be an effort of mass defection among establishment Republicans. Meanwhile, Republican voters are embracing mass solidarity. But the number of self-identified Republicans in the polls is declining because party ID is fluid. So the self-identified Republicans might be going down from 35 to 30% or something like that. Yeah. But then the 30% that are left are really rapidly Trump.
Yeah.
In the past, it used to go the opposite. When they had McCain and Romney as their nominees, it was a phenomenon that self-identified Republicans were more moderate, and that the independents were disheartened right-wing Republicans who refused to call themselves Republicans.
Well, as of today, we've got Mr. Mitt Romney as the new senator from Utah. So
who went after Trump.
He did.
That's what I mean by that there's signs of some sort of...
We'll see. I mean, Jeff Flake would go after Trump, too, and Bob Corker would go after Trump, but
yeah, those guys are on their way out. Romney's on his way in.
Exactly. So
and Romney looks totally poised that he could do a challenge.
Well,
in the primary.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Why not? He's got a 6-year term.
Yeah.
So if he goes nowhere in the primary,
right,
he's still a senator.
Yeah, he's well-to-do. He's got no economic reason to worry about losing his Senate seats or anything like that. It's not like he's going to be hard up for cash.
Right.
So we've got so the House came in today, the Senate came in today, the 116th Congress. As of Monday, we have a new governor here in the state of Wisconsin. We have Tony Evers taking over, and then he's continuing to name cabinet picks. He named a few more today. So Mr. Peter Barca from Racine, who's currently a state rep. Mm-hmm. He will be taking over at the Department of Revenue as secretary. And
some of these appointments, though, looked really promising.
Well, Amanda Palm, who worked actually
DHS,
she worked for the Obama administration in Health and Human Services. And she will be taking over as secretary of the Department of Health Services.
And that's
here
promising, too, but not necessarily in a polemic, like, left-wing sense.
Well, I think the experience that she obviously brings to this, the fact that she worked in the Obama administration,
she'll implement the Affordable Care Act, which, by the way, is not a left-wing act, because what is more would be left-wing in our politics would be Medicare for all. And Obamacare falls far short of that.
Well, of course, but this was.
However, it was a reasonable compromise.
Right.
And it had states all implemented it, it probably would work pretty well.
Yeah, well,
and
so that's the Medicaid expansion.
Well, this is our chance to maybe try to implement it despite Republican majorities in the legislature.
And we've talked about it before, and I mean, you have to look at it in terms of baby steps. What the body politic is capable of at any given moment in history,
which is almost 10 years ago.
And you look at how far we've come. I mean, look at this last election, the fact that so much oxygen was sucked up talking about pre-existing conditions and all these things that people didn't want to talk about when this thing was up for debate. Well, you're right, exactly. So the whole debate in and of itself, and then getting the thing passed, and then getting us to this point where now we're talking about Medicaid expansion in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
it's been an educational experience for voters.
I followed politics and policy very closely and was involved in it. And until, I think, 2005, I didn't really understand what pre-existing condition exclusion was.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, that was, to me, the hallmark of the Affordable Care Act. And then once it became law, like after a few years, it became something everybody recognized as the main thing.
Yeah.
To the point that Scott Walker supposedly wanted to do something about it.
For sure. Yeah. Right. Apparently, he wants to.
He's got a big name.
Speaking gigs, and then he wants to help get Trump reelected.
It'll pay some bills. I mean, if you're on a speakers bureau, like a lot of times, if you're like a really big name, like former presidents command well over $100,000 a speech.
I don't know if he'll get that, but
no, but he'll probably be on the very high end. Yeah. I'm gonna guess. Actually, that's maybe next episode, or sooner than later. We got to check what the rate is. One thing, I mean, we got to talk about next episode is state Supreme Court race.
Yeah, that'll be the next big thing.
Laws are going to be heavily impacted by
the
results of that. I'm a little concerned that
the enthusiasm maybe
waning. Well, part of it is that the right now is it's the worst day because it's the day that Pelosi gets sworn in.
Yeah,
and in Wisconsin, in 4 more days, the new governor and the new attorney general. Right, they got swept out of every statewide office.
Yeah,
so there'd be a lot of right wing bloviating and anger crap. Let's hope that doesn't carry right through and like create their own form of resistance. Let's keep our resistance going.
Yeah, definitely. We want to talk more about that. I mean, this is the seat that's filling Shirley Abrahamson's seat, who's retiring.
And the election is less than 3 months.
Primary. There
is none.
Yeah.
So April 2nd.
April 2nd
sounds like a long way off, but
coming up very quickly.
My New Year's resolution is to write 2019 on all my checks from the get-go.
I already had a problem with that.
Whatever.
Look at, I already wrote it on the agenda. I wrote 18.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Scott. Come on. What would Rick say? He'd say you should write 1918.
Yeah.
But anyway, before suffrage.
Right.
Suffrage. But anyway, never mind. Sorry, Uncle Rick. Anyway, so
on that note, so next time we record, we'll have a new governor, and we can talk about
Wisconsin. You have less than 3 months to get the Supreme Court on the right track.
Absolutely,
and it's an imperative. If you took beating Walker seriously, you have to take this seriously.
For sure, that'll be a lot of what we talk about going forward. So,
all right, with that,
forward.
Forward.